So I remember when I was an instructor on active duty in the Air Force, and at the time I was going through my own life and life challenges with anxiety and vertigo, and I was just finished up teaching a lesson to my 28 students. And during that time, when I'm in the classroom, I am focused, I am in the zone, I am delivering, and I'm in a different world. And soon as I stepped out of that classroom during our break, because we taught 50 minutes and then we took a 10-minute break. And I got into that hallway. And as I'm talking to another instructor at the time, I noticed there was like a little like flow for me. And I'm like, whoa. And I'm talking to my other instructor, say, hey, do you feel like the walls are moving? And she was like, no. And in that moment, it was my body going through something. And that was because of the stress of me still showing up and still dealing with life stressors and all the things. So, welcome to Lead Like the CEO show. I'm your host, Chevy. And this month for August, we are talking about a series, and that series is Leading Schools That Thrive. This is a series where we focus on speaking to school leaders, and I'm teaching four leadership lessons that you can apply today and every day so that you can step fully into that leadership role, but also lead a school that thrive without you running yourself into the ground. Because as a retired Air Force member of 22 plus years, being in the classroom, whether I'm an instructor supervisor, facilitator, and traveling around the globe doing what I love to do, which is educating and impacting, I understand how stress can deter your entire life, and how you show up, how you lead, and all the things. So come on in. Welcome. Drop in the chat where you're joining from, who you are, and also what you do. So before I get into today's part two, because we did part one last Wednesday, welcome to the Lead Like the CEO show. I'm your host, Chevy, and I help superintendents and principals like yourself who are leading high performance schools. But the goal is to lead that school without burning themselves out or running themselves into the ground. And that is what my focus on is, helping them to lead a high performance school without losing who they are in the process. I am a author of my book, Woman Breed, and also I'm going to be sharing some things which is in this book that I'm going to be talking about today, because I am using my S4 leadership framework, where we talked about the self-awareness last week, and we talked about the leadership mirror. And today we're talking about the part two of that framework, which is strength. And we're going to get into that. So as your facilitator, your author, and your executive leadership advisor, welcome to the Lead Like the CEO show. We have the Slate Queen here. Good morning. Good morning. And thank you for joining. Okay. As you can see, I'm taking some of your tips. You see my earrings. Yes. But please drop in the chat what you do. And the reason I created this series, because from someone, like I said, who has, lived in the classroom, taught, for over 10 plus years, whether that's a training manager, instructor supervisor, leading not only young airmen, but also teaching and facilitating for senior leaders, civilian and military. I do understand what it takes from, transitioning the schoolhouse from one location to the next, being part of that process. So I definitely understand the compounded effects that happens when you just keep going and going and going. So today on this series, we're talking about strength, and I don't want you to think of just physical strength. Okay, so thank you, Queen, thank you. She says she loves the earrings. I do too. So, and I shared that story in the beginning because I want you to understand that you are going to experience challenges. You are going to be experiencing, pressure as you're leading in your school. And that is the focus, like leading your school under pressure, but also leveraging yourself to ensure that you keep that strength that you have of being ambitious, the strength of leadership, the strength of navigating, challenges. But sometimes it will become, not sometimes, it will become overwhelming to the point where you are asking and questioning, can I continue on this path to lead in this capacity? And this is when you need to tap fully into your strength. And I'm talking about just physical strength, because you can stand all day. But if that mind is not functioning how it needs to function every single day, you're not standing. Okay, you're not standing. So do understand, when it comes to stress, it is always showing up and telling you something. Okay, so it is talking to you. Your stressors, they are talking to you every single day. So as a school leader, as a superintendent, whether you're a principal, assistant principal, you know you have high expectations and pressure to make sure that you are in compliant with your state when it comes to the education policies and process. When it comes to the school, making sure the school is in compliance. Okay, you are under pressure to maintain the level of achievement for the students as a whole. So that is pressure to make sure the students are passing, not only passing, the students are actually able to retain the information. You are under pressure to make sure that you have the best and qualified educators in the classroom to develop those students. You are under pressure for everything that is attached to that school. So I do understand the load that you have. And we have Chanel here who's tuning in from New Jersey. Thank you for joining. But what is going on? Okay, here we go. So do know that your body is telling you things are happening. So because those stressors, they're always talking to us. But we and you right now, and I know the school year has just started, especially if you're here in the South, it just started for you. But you already anticipating the challenges, the stressors, and you might be right now, because starting the school year, that's stress, that is pressure. So I want you to really think of, how are you responding to these stressors? Like, how are you truly responding to those stressors? And for me, when I go back to my experience as an instructor and leading, I still kept showing up. I still kept delivering. I still kept doing the work, even though my body and internally I was not fully there. And I was not performing at my best. I was not, until I decided to take action and do what I needed to do to make sure that I am not only showing up to show up because, hey, I have to be here, but making sure that I am able to step fully into my strength. Okay. And that comes with you deciding. That comes with you deciding. And again, I'm going to keep pushing this and pushing this and harping this, because when I say strength, I'm not talking about physical strength, because you can build muscles, you can do all the things. But at the end of the day, it is that mental strength that I'm talking about. And in my book, Woman Breed, on page 33, I talk about, let me go there very quickly. I talk about strength, and this chapter really focused on the resilience and renewal of the person, of you, the individual, as you are leading and navigating and developing your school and trying to get to a point where you can continue to show up, you can continue to lead without burning yourself out. And that starts with you identifying, okay, how can I lead under pressure without losing myself? And that comes with you deciding, like, we have to get to a decision making point. And what that looked like for strength is that, because getting to that decision making part is part of your strength, because that is something that I had to decide to do. So what that looks like is you deciding to replace some of the work to someone else. That means you are not taking on this bag of things that you feel that you have to be the one to do it. You feel like you have to want to be the decision maker. Yes, as a superintendent, overall, the umbrella of that school is your responsibility. But part of stepping fully into that strength of yours is deciding, what can I release when it comes to this workload. And don't tell me you can't release anything. Let's be realistic, because if something happened to you in this moment, someone else is taking over. Someone else is stepping in. Okay? Same on active duty. If you are grinding and pushing yourself to the point of where you're like, I am mentally checked out, you know what's going to happen. Someone else is going to take your place. As someone who has worked in mortuary on active duty and seeing individuals who passed away from different circumstances, guess what? Someone else is in that position. The job is still getting done. So you have to decide, like Rochelle said, decision making is a strength. Yes. Because imagine if you are leading and you are in that position as a superintendent, a school leader, and you are choosing not to decide, that is adding more pressure on top of you, because we're talking about leading your school under pressure. And there's going to be pressure from the board as well, because they have expectations of you as a superintendent. They have expectations of certain outcomes that they want by the end of the school year. So you have to decide, because that is part of your strength, the mental strength. Because when you decide and you're thinking, that affects how you make decisions, that affects your energy, that affects your clarity, that affects your ability to step fully into your role as a superintendent, as a principal, as the AP, which affects everything else in your school. Also, part of leading under pressure when it comes to your strength is clear decision while under pressure. And when I say clear decision, because I understand being in the military, sometimes things are happening like that. And we don't have time to process and gather all the data point, especially if you are downrange and bombs are coming in and dropping and you got to take cover. You react, and that's making a decision. And that is making a decision under pressure. So as you're navigating this school year, things will be dropping. Things are probably currently right now affecting your ability to show. And even though you might be just day 1 or day 5 in the school year, things are already on your desk, in your email. You're already hearing complaints, whether it's from parents, students, teachers, admin. They're all fighting for your attention. And you have to get to the point where you are making quick and effective decisions in that moment based on the information that you have. And you may not have all of it, and that is okay. That is okay. That is part of the S4 framework. It's really looking at how are you showing up in your strength. Okay. And part of that strength process so that you can continue to show up mentally and present in your role as that leader, you have to look at how can you start reframing the things that are happening in your control or out of your control. How can you reframe that? All this goes back to decision making. And in my book, Woman Breed, I have an activity in here, and it's on page 40 of the book. So you can grab this book on my website, Woman Breed. Just type in woman and the word breed.com. And, this is called the decision tree activity. And one of the 4 things that I have you do, and this is part of really building out your strength and how you're shown up. And again, I'm not talking physical strength, because it's about building that mental strength, that mental resilience, because I'm telling you that pressure is going to be heavy. And you as a leader of that school needs to understand how to navigate without freaking out, without screaming, without yelling, without just disconnected. Because sometimes you may have that leader who is disconnected from the school, from the students, from the teachers, all of it, because they're just showing up. Okay. And I'll share a quick story about a leader that was disconnected. I've had many throughout my career. But in this activity, the decision tree, it gives you 4 simple instructions. And the first one is identify the challenge. Because when we're able to identify the challenge, especially when we're leading under pressure, And sometimes we have to identify that quickly if we're able to. But you want to identify the challenge by clearly define the challenge you're facing in each area or in that specific situation. Okay. But then there's four more where you can grab the book to get the rest, which comes with a workbook on my website. But yes, so you have to look at the decision making because that impacts how you lead under pressure. So look at the situation. How can you reframe it? You have to decide is the second aspect of that, building that strength, and also renew. When I say renew, I'm focused on, even though this is about you leading under pressure, because it impacts how you show up, the core thing is focused on making sure that you are able to navigate those challenges under pressure. Because time's going to be ticking. You're going to have to respond to certain things. You're going to have to make a decision on the spot. And some people will get mad, and that's okay. That is okay. But as the leader of that school, and whether you are overseeing 800 students, 1,000 students, 500 students, you are overall responsible. But you have to look at where does my strength lies? Because it's not running the entire school by yourself. It's really leveraging your team in a way that you know this person is great in this area. This person is great, because you don't want to be that micro manager who is micro superintendent, micro leader who is wanting to be in control all the damn time. Okay? We don't want that. We don't want that. Your staff don't want that. Your board don't want that. They want to see a competent, effective, efficient, and impactful school leader who knows and understands how to work and lead and operate in that space when the pressure, that pressure pot is like, that sound. They want to know that you are still able to be grounded. And that is one skill set that, being in the military, we are able to do with no hesitation. Okay? We are able to do without hesitation, because there has been times in my career where, hey, we're leaving out tomorrow. Okay. Bags packed, let's go. Hey, this is happening. Hey, we need a decision. Sergeant Mack, what are your thoughts? All right, I need X amount of personnel. Okay, that means I'm going to have I'll be low on manpower, but we'll figure it out, man. We'll figure it out. Like, or guess what? We got to bed down hundreds of people downrange who just came in last night within an hour. Like, that is pressure. But being able to communicate, listen, and execute, all of that is part of that strength. Not just physical strength, mental strength. What Rochelle said, she said, yes, there are immediately. Love that too. Thank you for sharing. So as you're navigating and leading your school under the pressures that you're experiencing now or will experience, throughout the school year, I want you to ask yourself, by the end of 2020, the school year, the 2026-2027 school year, how do you want to end that year? Do you want to feel like, yes, it was challenging, but also I feel great, or it was challenging and I'm questioning whether or not I want to continue this, or I want to keep operating at this cycle because it's affecting your overall quality of life. So you have to decide, because how you continue to show up, it's going to determine whether or not your staff shows up, your staff come back, because I know that's a very, very hot topic for school leaders is making sure, like, how can we retain our educators to come back the next year? And if they're not able to see how you are leading them well, okay, and not perfect, but leading them well, you're not going to have your best teachers to come back. And that starts with you. That starts with you leading well. That starts with you looking at, how am I showing up? Am I leveraging my strength? Am I able to navigate and still be grounded as these challenges appears? So as a superintendent, if you are at a place, or school leader, or assistant principal or principal, and you feel like, you know what, I've been through the fire, I'm not trying to continue to be in the fire all day, every school year, and you want to show up and lead in a way where you're not only taking care of the school, the students, the teachers, the admin, but also you're at the core of making sure that you are taken care of, which impacts your retention, which impacts your student output. I want to invite you to my live experience that I am hosting on the 18th of June. 18th of June. Oh my goodness, we are in August. What am I saying? The 18th of August, which is next Tuesday. And this is for my live workshop that I'm doing, that I'm facilitating. And the name of it is Lead Well, Retain More. And this is how school leaders can keep their best teachers without burning out. Because when they see you burning out, they're like, is this my life? Is this how I'm going to be? And people, what we see, we're like, I don't want that. So you want to show up in a way and lead in a way where your staff, they see like, oh, Miss X is like, she's showing up, they're able to handle the challenges. Like, they're calm under pressure. They're not spazzing out. They're not yelling at us. Like, they're firm. They're holding us accountable, and they're smiling. They're enjoying this process. They are making an impact. So if you are that leader and you want things to be different this year, and you want to make sure that when you end the school year, that you feel the energy, the excitement of the year is over, but not depleted at the end. If that is you, I want you to send me a DM, or you can drop here right in the chat the word lead, and I will send you the details to register for this live experience that I'll be doing privately in my own group. So definitely DM me the word lead, and I will love to have you there. And if you like, hey, I'm not a superintendent, I'm not a principal, I'm a teacher, but I will love this, you are more than welcome to attend as well. Okay, this is for anyone who is in the school system who will love to come in and really get what their needs so they can have a successful school year by tapping into how they lead and how they end the school year. Rochelle said, great opportunity to start the new year. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And we're going to go deeper into this, because for me, it's all about really looking at how you can truly lead well so that you can lead the school in a way that doesn't affect you and your overall well-being when it comes to running and leading a high-performing school. But I want to thank Rochelle for being here live. Thank you so much. And also for Shanella as well for joining me live on the Lead Like the CEO show. I'm your host, Chevy, and I'm really excited to be hosting this series this month, which is really focused on helping school leaders to lead schools that are thriving. And this is really about giving you the 4 lessons using my S4 leadership framework. And next week, we're going to really focus on the which one is that? I'm going blank right now, but we're the S4 framework, which is the self-awareness, strength, and stewardship. Goodness. So we're going to be focused on the stewardship aspects of the framework, and we're going to go a little bit deeper as well too. But if you, again, will love to have this experience, definitely send me the word lead, and I will love to have you there in the room. And as always, if you're a superintendent, principal, AP principal, and you are looking to lead high performing schools without burning yourself out or running yourself into the ground, leading that school, I want you to connect with me. You can follow me. You can send me a DM, send me any questions that you may have. And if you will love to learn more about how to lead and thrive, whether it's in your life, in your career, or business, you can grab my book, which comes with the workbook as well, which is right over here. And this is your companion book that you get to really be honest with yourself. And each part, this is a 4-part based on the book and the framework, which I said is my S4 leadership framework. And it starts with the self-awareness piece. And it goes into the strength, then it goes into stewardship, then it goes into sustainability, because the goal is to start with self. We look at, really leveraging our strength, our stewardship, and then how do we sustain to continue to show up as the leader in our lives, in our careers, in our business. But you can grab this on my website as well. But lastly, again, thank you for joining me live on the Lead Like the CEO show. We're live here on LinkedIn and also on YouTube. So you can definitely go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well, Lead and Live Well with Chevy, because it's a very holistic approach that we focus on over here. But send me the word lead or drop it in the chat, and I will send you the details to join me on the 18th of August. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining, and share this live with someone that you feel may need this, because they are in that leadership position at their school and they need this type of support. So thank you for joining, and have an amazing Wednesday as always.